I'm a Disgruntled Eagles fan, and we're awesome.
Welcome, Disgruntled. Today, we are going to be doing another Eagles update, and this time it is a shorter amount in between Eagles update rather than 5 months in between. But today is going to be a very short one. I'm aiming for 6 to 7 minutes, which usually means that's going to be between 13 and 15 minutes. You guys know the deal. But today we are going to be talking about Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, and the new cornerback we got from the Steelers, in which I will be looking up his name because I have forgot his name. His name is Steve Nelson to a 1-year deal. Eagles added Steve Nelson to a 1-year deal. 1-year deal. This is one of the best. Let's start with Steve Nelson since we're already on the topic, and it should only be short conversation on him because I have not much to say, but I'm really excited to have this player on the team. Hopefully this doesn't end up like an awesome Brian Maxwell, Asante Samuel towards the end of his career, and a couple other crappy cornerbacks that we got from other teams. Darius Slay, we got from the Lions. He did decent last year, but we still have to see where he's at. But hopefully Steve Nelson doesn't turn out to be a bust, because I feel like every time we get a huge name, cornerback name, from a different team, whether we trade him, whether we sign him, it doesn't really matter. Just as long as we got it from a different team, it always pans out awful for us. So hopefully this is not the case, but this is a top 5 cornerback in the league, if not top 10 cornerback in the league. Cementing his reputation with the Steelers, Nelson started all 30 games he played in, logging 3 interceptions, 17 passes defended, and 109 total tackles. From this, I got this from Glenn Irby, Eagles Wire, and yeah, so he's a very, very good cornerback, and he's cemented that really good defense from the Steelers last year and made them the number 1 defense in the league for the good first 11 games of the season at least. I don't know how they did the last half of the season or the last quarter of the season when they were losing games to Washington, to a number of Browns, and a number of other useless teams that we shall not get into. But I'm really excited that we have Steve Nelson on our team, because that is one area that we are lacking, is cornerback help, because we've been getting absolutely smoked the past couple years in the cornerback position. The only good time when I remember Eagles actually having a good cornerback squad was Super Bowl run, and even then we were still getting smoked left and right, but that was kind of a half decent cornerback position. Even the year after that, when we lost to the Saints in the playoff game, our cornerbacks played very well, so hopefully we can get back to that last couple of years. Now, getting to Deshaun Watson, I've already stated some of my opinions on the League of Their Wings podcast. Link is going to be in the description or my opinions on it, but this video is going to go more in depth with my thoughts on Deshaun Watson. I'm going to first say that he has 22 civil cases against him over sexual harassment, because I don't really know the exact details, but apparently he was running this massage business or something, and he was having different girls from different cities come in, and I guess he'll give them a massage or something. I'm not really quite sure the deal of it, but basically he was getting massaged to women, 22 different women. They don't know each other, 22 different accusations, which is a shit ton for sexual harassment, but basically he was bringing them in for these massages and basically touching them inappropriately while he was giving these massages. That led to 22 civil cases against him, in which investigations are still underway. The police are still gathering. Hold on, I need a burp. The police are still gathering information about these cases and evidence that they need to press any charges, if they do find any, and in which I believe that they will find something. And he has a couple criminal cases, or out of the 22 women, a couple of them did charge him or did go for the criminal case rather than the civil case. So he may end up in jail, in which I'm pretty sure he will. Because if you have that many women next to you, then there's ain't no way that you're not guilty. I mean, I can totally see 1 or 2 accusations, or maybe 5 at most. 5 is getting a pretty up there kind of false accusations, but this is not the case. I feel like false accusations can happen, but if you have 22 different women that don't know each other from different areas, I'm pretty sure you are pretty guilty. So I don't see Deshaun Watson entering the league anytime soon. He did show up in training camp a few days ago. I think it was 4 or 5 days ago. He did show up to training camp due to him not wanting to get fined. He does not want to be a Houston Texan, kind of switching into football related now. He does not want to play for Houston Texans, but he's still a Houston Texan. So he did have to show up to training camp, or he would have been fined $50,000. So I guess he needs every cent to fight these cases, because these can make you go broke. Even though he's a multi-millionaire, he has tens of millions of dollars from shoe deals, record deals, not record deals, but just other sponsorships. There's ain't no way that, or he's going to need money for that, but I just think he's guilty. There's just no way that, doesn't matter how much money you have. I guess maybe Jeff Bezos kind of money can make him escape and keep it all quiet, but if you had that Jeff Bezos money, it wouldn't even go to the press to begin with. I just don't see Deshaun Watson playing in the NFL anytime soon. The only way that I see him actually playing is if he does, or if the case doesn't get resolved before the beginning of the year, which is most likely the case, because these kind of cases do take a long amount of time to actually gather the evidence, because it's hard to get evidence, I think, in these types of cases, because it's not really DNA testing. I don't think it's more of texting evidence or the receipts and just evidence like that, because it's hard to show proof that he is guilty of these crimes other than witnesses and textual evidence and other evidence like that where you have receipts and or confessions. But it's just kind of hard to gather evidence for these types of cases, so I think he's probably going to be able to play this season, unless if somehow it gets wrapped up. But it's been happening. Legal things have been happening for months now. I think since March they've been happening, so I think we should get resolved. NFL should suspend him for at least a good amount of chuck and time if he does not go to jail, or if he does not have any legal actions against him. So the NFL is going to at least suspend him, hopefully, and that could be a 4-game suspension, 8-game suspension, entire year suspension. But usually NFLs are very lenient that, and he's only going to get a slap on the wrist and get a 4-game suspension for supposedly sexually harassing 22 different women. So I think that's a fair punishment. I'm going to use those in quotes as being sarcastic. Let's transition this to the Eagles more. There's been reports saying that there is a 90% chance of him landing on the Eagles due to Eagles having 3 first-round draft picks. I'm putting those in air quotes because I'm going to get to that later. But we have supposedly 3 first-round picks, and we are more likely to get him. I don't know why we would get him. I don't want to get him for 2 big reasons. So we have a 90% chance because of our draft capital, and just because we are in kind of a need in quarterback range. I mean, we have Jalen Hurts, but he's unproven, and so we're kind of needing a quarterback. But a franchise quarterback would be nice on any team, unless if you already have an established franchise quarterback like Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, etc., you don't really need to be shopping. But if you have unproven players like Jalen Hurts, it's always good to have a franchise quarterback because you know what you're getting. But we have a 90% chance because we have the most draft capital and most resources to go obtain a Deshaun Watson or a big-time player. My 2 reasons why I don't want him. My first biggest reasons, I absolutely do not want Deshaun Watson at all. It's because of what he did to 22 different women. This legal thing is not going to go away, and even if it does, if the NFL makes it go away, and if his lawyers make it go away, and his money, all of money makes it go away, and he's not found guilty or not acquitted of anything, or he is acquitted of those crimes and he's not actually accused of anything legally after like the court cases actually go through and he's found innocent, I still would not feel right with signing him because it feels dirty, and I just don't want that kind of person representing the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and I don't even want Howie and Jeffrey Lurie to even give it a second thought. I just don't want it. I do not want this in Philly. I don't want Deshaun Watson representing the Eagles organization as a whole, because he's going to be the face of this organization if we do sign him, which I don't think we will. Hopefully we don't. Number 2 reason why I don't want to get him is because we have Jalen Hurts. This big dilemma with Jalen Hurts getting signed in the second round, and this whole Carson Wentz drama when he was on the Eagles and making him kind of pushed out of Philly due to signing Jalen Hurts, and many other things surrounding that situation with drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round a couple of years ago. But if you're going to go through all of that to make a franchise quarterback in Carson Wentz leave, or at least a very decent quarterback leave this organization, to bring in a new guy in Jalen Hurts, all to just replace him with a Deshaun Watson, that's just going to look like clownish acts. I mean, we were saying that we were probably using Jalen Hurts as a trade option to kind of build him up, build his talents up and try to work on him and then trade him down the line. But that was assuming that we would keep Carson Wentz, but we traded Carson Wentz and now we don't have any quarterbacks. Now we have Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He just needs to work on his accuracy and deep ball strength, and I think he is a very good quarterback. I want to see at least 1 year or a couple years with Jalen Hurts just to see what he's got to actually make a decision on whether we should keep him and or trade for Deshaun Watson kind of player and or draft a really good quarterback. That being said, if we didn't have Jalen Hurts and if all these accusations didn't exist with Deshaun Watson and we were up in the opportunity in obtaining Deshaun Watson purely on his talents, I would 100% sign him. But given all these accusations against him and the situation with Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal quarterback as well. I really like his swagger. I really like his personality. And he's just a generally good guy. And I feel like he's a very good player and a very good person to represent the Philadelphia Eagles organization. Whereas Deshaun Watson is not. Simply is just not. It would absolutely disgust me if we got Deshaun Watson. He's a fucking dirtbag, and I don't want anything to do with him. Now, let's move on. The most recent news, Carson Wentz. It is 14 minutes into this video, like I said. I was aiming for 6 to 7 minutes, but it ended up being 14 minutes so far. Carson Wentz tripped over some grass a couple days ago. That led him to get foot surgery. If you thought he was injury prone, then this even furthers your point, because this is the exact move that I saw coming. I never said it, but I'm like, it's going to happen. Carson Wentz is going to fucking trip over some air and fucking get hurt. And it said, the report just came out that it's said to be 5 to 12 weeks. And I'm thinking that he's going to take an extra couple weeks longer than needed to go under that 70% threshold that we need to get that first round pick as a final fuck you to the Philadelphia Eagles organization, because he absolutely hates it here. And this is so fucking frustrating, because we need that first round draft pick and it's just like a final fuck you to us. Like, this makes me so freaking angry, because like we had an opportunity to get 3 first round picks, better our organization, build. If we weren't going to trade, or if we weren't going to make moves and trade, using those 3 first round picks, we're going to at least draft 3 first round picks or 3 first round players out of the 2022 draft and build our team around them, and or build a team around someone we traded for. But now we only have 2 first round picks, and I guess we do have a second round pick, but it's such a freaking Philly thing to happen. Like, I was really rooting for Carson Wentz, not just because he was an Eagle, but because he's a generally good guy, and I want him to succeed, because I feel like he was mismanaged in the Eagles, and he just got dealt a bad card with the Eagles. But I was rooting for him, aside from the 70% first round drama surrounding that. Aside from that, I was actually rooting for him to do really well, because Titus co-host of League of the Wings, is a Colts fan, and I want him to like succeed and actually do well on the Colts. And yeah, it's a shame to see him get injured, and I just don't, because I was his number one supporter last year as well, and I was always defending him how he's not injury prone, but he's not making a good case, and it looks like he is very injury prone after this, over tripping over some grass. But yeah, this made me very sad to see. And one last thing that I forgot to say about the Deshaun Watson case, it is that for Deshaun Watson, the Texans' price has been some combination of 5 high draft picks and starting caliber players per 2 league executives. So that's kind of the price that the Texans are looking for Deshaun Watson, which is a very acceptable price because he is a top 5 quarterback, if not top 3 quarterback, and he's the franchise quarterback, and he's only 24 years old. And then some other news too, Devontae Smith looks like he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks. It doesn't look like he's going to miss any games though. It just looks like 2 to 3 weeks from now he's going to miss like some practices and stuff, which is really a shame because the training camp also started for the Eagles, and Jalen Hurts connected to Devontae Smith for a 40-yard bomb, which looked beautiful. That's about it for this episode. It looks like Devontae Smith is going to be back before the season started, but he's looking very good, and he's stepping up to that player role because he had a bad training camp practice, and basically he stepped up and he was like, sorry, I shouldn't have played like that, I'm going to play better tomorrow, and it's just looking very good. His attitude is very, very relieving because I feel like some of the attitudes in the Eagles organization have been bad due to relationships formed by Howie and Lori with them, and it's just players' reputation with the Eagles are relatively bad just because of they're having bad experiences with the higher ups of the Eagles, and it's just good to see that a couple players, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, actually having a good spin on things rather than a negative spin on things that have been a theme to older Eagle players like Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz. One last thing, and then I'm going to go over a couple of transactions just to end this episode of Eagles Update. We did sign our last final guy. I was confused about this last episode because when I was reading off, we signed every single rookie that we got from the draft except for Landon Dickerson, but we just signed him as of July 26th to his rookie contract. He's the offensive lineman from Alabama. About him. If you want more information about him, go over to my last Eagles update. I'll put that in the description. And then we place safety Andrew Adams, defensive end Matt Leo, and linebacker Alex Singleton on the reserve / COVID-19 list. Placed Raven Clark and safety Rodney McLeod on the active / physically unable to perform list. Placed offensive lineman Landon Dickerson on the active / non-football injury list because of that, I think, Achilles or ACL tear that he had during his last game at Alabama. Yeah, that's kind of all what happened. And yeah, I think I'm going to do another Eagles update on training camp and another Eagles update on the coaches situation. Just my thoughts on that. I know it's very late. We've changed all of our coaches since February once we got that new hot shot in what's his name from the Colts, our new head coach, whatever his name is. I'm gonna put it somewhere, but yeah. And thanks for watching.